Uncut, uncensored. Welcome to COASTER-net Uncut.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of COASTER-net Uncut. I am Danny Miller from Binghamton, New York, joined as always by Andrew Barczak from Chicago, Illinois. How's it going tonight, Andy?
Oh, it's a glorious evening. We got some tornado watches going on in Chicago, so hopefully I don't get blown away by the storm, and I'm here to talk some great roller coasters with you this evening.
So if the show ends abruptly, we know what happened. And then long overdue, I guess you could say, nearly, 3 months overdue. We have a special guest with us tonight. We have Nicholas is here with us. He was the winner of the Thrilling 32 bracket challenge this year. So as always, one of the big prizes of winning the Thrilling 32 is to get on to and to sit amongst greatness, as we like to say. So Nick, why don't you introduce yourself to the folks?
Well, yeah, I'm Nick. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. Not North Carolina. Well, I live in South Carolina. My home park is Carowinds. So yeah.
Now, how far away are you from? Are you just a couple minutes away, or do you have a half-hour drive?
5 minutes.
Oh, you're 5 minutes. Can you see the park from where you live?
There's a field a minute away where I can see Fury. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man! I wish I lived there.
That's really cool.
Oh, that is really cool. So, when we have these people on, the last couple of years we've had the winners of the Thrilling 32 on, and they've kind of gotten to talk about whatever they wanted to. I think Jenny a few years ago wanted to talk about opening weekend from Cedar Point, and that's what we did because you were also there, Andy. And then last year, I think it was Eli. We did the tournament of logos, right? I think that's what we did last year.
Yes.
So what Nick wanted to do here this evening is he wanted to go back to one of the classics that we've done a couple times here and play the good old game of Roller Coaster Database Roller Coaster Roulette. And for Andy, why don't you explain it to the folks who maybe haven't been around, because it's been a while since we did this. So why don't you explain it to the folks?
Yeah. Well, one of the fun things that, I like to do on my free time, and I know Danny likes to do as well, is sit on Roller Coaster Database and hit the random coaster button and see what comes up. That's how, I learn about all the rides in the world and all the coasters all over the country. So we said one day, why don't we make that into a show and hit that button, see what comes up, and, talk about each one. Some of them is stuff that we've written. Some of them are, well-known rides, and some of them are completely unknown rides. So we usually choose about 10 rides to talk about.
Well, and we're doing this anyway, right? When we sit at home at the end of our day, we're doing this anyway, so why not just record it and make a show out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. And have you, and we love to hear what you have to say about these rides. Some of you have been on them, and have some opinions on them. So feel free to comment in the section below on them and also on the COASTER.net forums. So I think with that being said, I think we should just get right into the roller coaster roulette and see what our first winner is. And our first winner, let's hit that button. We've got Villain from
oh boy,
good old Geauga Lake. Oh man, here we go.
Am I the only one who's ridden this?
Yes, I have not.
Okay, so Villain, big custom coasters, wood coaster, right? Was at Geauga Lake. That kind of came in, as far as I know, during the Six Flags expansion era, right around the time they built the Boss, I think. And I actually did go to Geauga Lake its last season. It was in July, because they didn't say they were closing until after they had closed for the season. So obviously didn't know it was the last season. I remember it being pretty rough, and I remember it being very fast and very intense, and obviously I wasn't big into the coaster world yet. That was back in 2007 I was actually right before my first trip to Cedar Point. We stopped at Geauga Lake on the way out to Cedar Point. So, I actually have an on-ride photo of my dad and I, and you can tell that it wasn't the most comfortable ride, if you will. The Gerstlauer trains on those wood coasters, not the most comfortable. I'm interested to hear.
As I learned just recently.
Well, yeah, right. So I'm interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this one, considering that neither of you have ridden it, and that it's been torn down for nearly a decade now has gone by since this ride was actually standing.
To me, it's kind of strange that it was only open for about 7 years, and they just decided to scrap this one. Just looking at what RCDB has on its website, that they only got about $30,000 for this ride, which seems like an incredible small amount of money for scrap metal.
It was only around for 6-7 years.
6-7 years, so you look at the loss of money here, and I don't know about you guys, but the Geauga Lake enthusiasts seem to be still some of the most vocal people in the community, and they are not happy about this. They're not happy about anything that went down here, and blame can be put a lot of places. A lot of people blame Dick Kinzel, call him the devil. I've had a chance to talk to some ride ops. Being from Cedar Point, I come into contact with some of the people that used to work at Geauga Lake, and they have nothing but bad things to say about Dick Kinzel. But if you look at the history of it, the city was never behind this park, to be honest with you. It was never behind the idea of worlds of adventure being this huge thing. They liked the two separate parks. I should say they tolerated the two separate parks of Geauga Lake and SeaWorld being smaller things. But the city was never behind this. They never wanted this huge thing there. And when Six Flags came in, and tried to change it up, that it completely changed the aspect of it. Then Cedar Fair came in, and everything just fell apart pretty quickly. Nick, did you know? Have you followed the Geauga Lake story at all?
All I know is it closed in 2007. Villain looked like a pretty nice ride. I guess I never really cared about it because it was from 2007. But I just watched the POV. Had huge hills. That's pretty insane.
Yeah. It was like a really big ride. It was a big ride. It was very big, very intense.
Pretty cool logo too.
Yeah.
Pretty cool logo on the front there. I like that opening thing. It's like just villain in some decorative font on but then
the eyes are kind of almost like it's some sort of bandit of some sort. But I'm surprised that maybe that name has never been reused. I guess the whole the whole Geauga Lake thing is. We could probably do an hour-long show just on Geauga Lake. It was Six Flags' failed attempt to compete with Cedar Point, and then when Cedar Fair took over the park, Six Flags had just expanded so quickly, it just didn't make sense. And honestly, it didn't make sense for Cedar Fair to have another park competing with Cedar Point because it was never going to do the business they did. So they, it was a dying park that, quite honestly, probably needed the whale across the lake to survive at some point, too, just to bring in the tourists. So when that went, I think the park went with it, and Cedar Fair kind of get left holding the bag, unfortunately, and it wasn't their fault.
And I'll be honest with you, I took multiple trips to SeaWorld, Ohio. I was there at least twice,
I did not know that.
More. Yeah. Yeah, I was at SeaWorld, Ohio twice. And saw the coasters across the lake, but we were still, I was still a kid, and there was not really a desire because, to be honest with you, once you've been at Cedar Point, it's kind of hard to go to other parks and that aren't as good. And to be honest, when I was there, Geauga Lake did not have the ride lineup that was overly impressive enough for me to, really say, I really want to go there to my mom and dad, but whatever. So let's move on to the next one. Let's hit that refresh button. And we got, Danny, this is one up by your neck of the woods, even closer back when you had RRT. This is Predator at Darien Lake.
Okay.
One that I have been on. Yes.
All right, so Predator, one of the last remaining. Hold on, let me get the page up here. So Predator, as far as I know, one of the last remaining Din & Summers coasters. Wolverine Wildcat is another one, but Texas Giant is gone. Or at least reborn as the new Texas Giant. Mean Streak is now gone. We'll see what that becomes. Hercules is gone. The Six Flags Magic Mountain Cyclone is gone. I'm going to click on the Summers. Let's see. American Eagle, he helped out with. Georgia Cyclone is gone. Raging Wolf Bobs from Geauga is gone.
Yeah, those are ones that he helped design, but the ones that the Din Corporation actually built, Raging Wolf Bob, Cyclone, Thunder Run down at Kentucky Kingdom. One of those that a lot of people rave about down there at Kentucky Kingdom. Maybe the best ride in the park.
Well, I guess depending on who you talk to, Timberwolf, another one. Now, okay, so we've started off with 2 wood coasters here. Now, Nick, are you being close to Carowinds? You don't have a whole lot of wood coasters nearby. So, are you much of a wood coaster fan, or do you not have a whole lot to choose from?
Well, Swamp Fox is pretty awesome at Myrtle Beach, but that's about it.
Yes, Swamp Fox is awesome. I rode Swamp Fox over Memorial Day weekend and love Swamp Fox. Sorry, not the but Swamp Fox is awesome.
Well, back to Predator. Predator, when I rode it, it was a one and done for me, to be honest with you, Danny Miller.
I think it's a lovely ride.
This did nothing for me whatsoever, as shocking as that may be to our listeners out there. I also find it coincidental that this was another one that was heavily rumored back when Herschend was operating the park, was heavily rumored that this would be getting the RMC treatment in some way, shape, or form. Back then, it was rumored that they would keep it wood. Something that we have not seen RMC do yet is to do a retrack or a reprofile of completely a wood coaster. So that was the rumors, that they would reprofile it to make it into, Monster,
the lake monster. Lake monster. Yeah. Come on, this is where that Lake Erie monster theory came from. That's where it's originally stemmed. But yeah, the Din Corporation. Georgia Cyclone has had Topper Track put on parts of it now. Hercules gone. Mean Streak gone. Yeah. Pegasus at Efteling gone. Magic Mountain Cyclone gone. Raging Wolf Bob's gone. Texas Giant RMC. Predator was supposed to be done and wasn't. Thunder Run, Timberwolf, there's always talk about that going away. The original, Wild One, just down there, Wolverine Wildcat, still around. But
half of their for Georgia Cyclone.
What?
What's
Georgia
that?
Cyclone?
There's rumors for Georgia Cyclone to get RMC.
Yeah, there is. We were actually discussing that the other night. That's good. Hey, what is it about all the Din coasters getting RMC work? Because didn't RMC rebuild Thunder Run too a couple years ago when Kentucky Kingdom reopened? Aren't they the ones who retracted? Like all these have ended.
Delete. That's what I say.
That's what they're doing.
Get rid of them all. Oh man. So Predator. What's next? Okay. Did you have any good things to say about Predator besides it's a lovely ride, Danny Miller? No.
I think it has some good spots of airtime, and see, when I went to school in Rochester, I always rode Predator. I went to Darien Lake a fair bit, especially the summers where I was working on my co-ops in Buffalo. I actually had a season pass for those two, for the one summer where I was working in Buffalo the 2 summers that I lived out there and was working out there because I was only about a half an hour away. I always rode Predator once a year at the beginning of the year in the back seat to remind myself why I didn't ride it in the back seat the rest of the season. And then I would ride it up front. And when I rode it up front, I thought it had good airtime. I thought the speed was okay. I thought it had some good laterals. Was it a smooth ride? No. But it was a really fun – it was what a wood coaster ought to be. It had some good airtime. It was rough. It threw me around. It had a nice location right on the lake. It was a very picturesque ride. So I haven't been back to Darien Lake in a couple years.
Once again, once again, I like the logo for Predator. I think it's a pretty cool logo.
It's a good one.
You know. Okay, let's go back to RCDB and let's click for that third coaster tonight. And the Roulette brings up. Oh my goodness! This is the place that I was wishing to go to. Twisted Typhoon.
No, really?
If you watch Tracking the Thrills, you know that Twisted Typhoon got becoming 2 stars. 2 stars.
So with that, let's throw it over to Nick right away. Nick, did you get a chance to watch Andy's video where he talked about Twisted Typhoon?
Yeah, and it's funny because it was the best rated ride in the park, I think.
Yes, it was. Well, it was tied. It was tied with Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing also got the 2 stars because it went over alligators. That's what gave Swamp Thing.
So you're telling me that the best 2 roller coasters at that park are the 2 Vekoma inverted coasters is what you're telling me. Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
So, Twisted Typhoon, Vekoma SLC.
In all fairness, though, I'm not a fan of SLCs. You know, I like a few. Thunderhawk at Michigan's Adventure is a very nice SLC. I actually like T3. I'm not a big baby like some of us. I like T3. I thought I was legitimately going to die with a seatbelt restraint. I
enjoyed my experience on the VR at Six Flags New England up there at that one.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that one.
But I'll say this: this SLC, very smooth, very well maintained. New coat of paint makes it pop, the blue and the green. It still had the horse collar restraints, but I'll tell you what, it was a very smooth ride, very enjoyable. Still only rode it once because I wanted to move on to other things, but I have to say, if you're going to have to ride an SLC, this was one I would ride.
Okay, I got a question for both of you. I'll start with Andy since he went to the park. So from 1999 to 2011, this was painted like an orange and brown, like a dusty orange and dusty brown, and it was called Hangman. And now it's got the bright green and blue. Which one? Andy, Twisted Typhoon or Hangman?
Twisted Typhoon. Any coaster that's green is automatically one step above the rest.
Oh, stop. Oh, here we go. All right, Nick. Nick, do you prefer the new name and the new paint job or the old orange and brown with the Western Hangman theme?
Orange and brown, that sounds awful, so I'm going to go with Twisted Typhoon.
Okay. Well, and the funny thing, and I don't know, Andy, maybe you can speak to this here, but the original, okay, so it kind of is still there. I'm looking at the old ride sign, and it still kind of looks like the gallows with the word Twisted Typhoon hanging from it. But when it was Hangman, the gallows had like a rope hanging from it as well, like a noose. What is that?
I'm going to go out. That? I'm going to go out on a limb and maybe in southern Georgia, not the logo or the historically, I think it's inappropriate.
Well,
but
I kept it for 12 years, so. It's not like Mantis and Banshee where it's like, ooh, we shouldn't call it that. Like in 12 years.
Oh man.
All right.
Yeah,
what's
12
next?
Years. Okay, let's next. Let's hit that refresh. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Top 10 ride, maybe right outside the top 10. I'm not remember. Diamondback at Kings Island.
Okay.
The great B&M Hyper. Yes, one that most people. Yeah, most people know this ride. Most people have ridden this ride, or I should say, a lot of people have ridden this ride. Not most people. This one is still my favorite of the B&M Hypers. There was a time when I kind of thought, maybe I-232 was better. But no, I'm sticking with Diamondback. Diamondback is my favorite of the B&M Hypers. Nick, what are your thoughts on the B&M Hypers?
I'm going to be honest here. I like Mako, but Apollo's Chariot and Intimidator are the other 2 I've ridden, and they're pretty boring. They don't do anything for me. They feel exactly the same. I can't even tell the difference.
Sucks. Oh my God!
It's like a lot of rattle and roll of airtime.
You know what, Nick? I think we're gonna boot Danny Miller off the show and continue forward because doesn't like wood coasters, doesn't like Apollo's Chariot. Oh,
Hey,
Nick,
he said he really enjoyed the Swamp Fox. We're going to create a new Facebook group, Apollo's Chariot Lovers Anonymous, whatever.
Yeah, well, then it'd be just you. And any thoughts on Diamondback? I don't know if I want to talk a lot about Diamondback because it's one that we've talked a lot about.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Diamondback. I mean, it's very, very similar to Intimidator down at Carowinds. I do think it's better than Intimidator. So, Nick, if you don't like Intimidator, Diamondback is one that I think you'll probably like a little bit more. I think it's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. And I always say they don't call it Diamond Front. So you gotta sit at the back of the best seats at the back of the house.
The long trains make the drop insane. So that's the only good thing about the Intimidator is the drop. But then everything else is just kind of bland.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, on Diamondback that drops even better. So
yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Okay, let's go back to RCDB. Let's hit that refresh. And what the hell is this?
Okay.
Danny, I got a stumper.
This sounds
I got a stumper for you.
All right, what is it? It sounds like I gotta type this one in.
Holland Blitz.
What'd you call me?
Wiener Prater. Holland Blitz.
You're gonna have to spell
Wiener
that.
Prater. Is that how you say it?
I'll just search Wiener Prater. That's gonna be easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably do that because it's got some funky accent marks over the O too.
Does it have the umlaut? Holland Blitz?
Yeah. So
what is this little? Wait a minute. Hold on. It opened March 31st and is closing in August. Is this like what Olympia Looping did, where it like traveled with it for a year?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
This is a traveling coaster. It's an indoor coaster. It's also a spinning coaster. It was originally made by the Stein Company, and it was actually designer Stengel. That's a big name in the coaster world.
Well, then it was
rebuilt by Gerslauer. So Gerslauer came in and refurbed it.
I'm watching the POV from RCDB.
It's the longest indoor spinning coaster in the world. This thing actually looks really freaking cool.
My God,
the lighting package with strobe lights and lasers and holy hell. This thing looks pretty damn cool.
Wait, and
a lot of people
don't go to RCDB for this one either because all the pictures are like construction. Go to Google Images and type this thing in and look at the pictures of this thing when it's actually constructed. Because I'm watching the POV now. So you're spinning inside, and there's like strobes and fog and everything. Like this is there's like covered tunnels. Like this is not for the claustrophobic. I'll tell you that right now. But the epileptic.
Holy cow! This thing is amazing. Seriously, I have never heard of this ride. Danny, have you ever heard of this ride?
I want to say I've heard it mentioned before, but I've never seen this ride. Well, so many of those
Nick, have you heard of this ride?
So many of those European rides are like something Blitz, right? There's Matterhorn Blitz, there's Alpen Blitz, there's Indy Blitz, there's all sorts of. So that's why I feel like I've heard it mentioned, but I've never seen. There's a Christmas tree in it. What the hell?
There's Christmas trees. I know this thing. Seriously, you have to go watch the POV videos of this thing. This thing looks trippy as hell. If you drop some acid, I'm not advocating drug use. Like seriously,
no,
this
of course
is
not.
Awesome.
Wait a minute, you're not. How'd you become a Raptor fan?
Well, Jesus, anywho,
this looks really cool.
Really cool. It has its own website. For these indoor spinning coasters, I wonder if it's almost too intense for the American market, because I almost feel like this is what Laugh Track was supposed to be, or even if they did this with like the Dark Knight coasters, or maybe with Sandy Snake down at Tampa. I know.
Like
if they did this with I'm going to talk to my buddy Dason, and maybe he can pass this video along to the Busch Garden Tampa higher ups.
Seriously, that's what Lap Track should have been.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, that is really cool. So if you haven't, definitely go.
I just want to
check
keep
that
clicking on
out.
things that have to do with this ride now. I just want to keep watching videos of this ride.
That's really cool.
That's really wild.
It's okay. Well, we got to move on. We ain't got all night.
All right. Well, we're halfway done, right?
Okay. Refresh. Yeah, that was number 5. Refresh. We have Furious Bako at Port Aventura in Spain. The only Intamin wing coaster. And it has a launch on it.
It's the only one that I know that they actually called a wing rider coaster because, the Sky Rushes and the Nefeskessens of the world and the Flying Aces have kind of have the wing seats, but this is the only one that they actually made under the wing rider name.
Yeah, this is legit wing rider.
And I've heard that this ride is very fun, but I've also heard it shakes quite a bit on those outside seats because it's very fast.
Intamin has that rattle to it, definitely, that you'll experience on almost any Intamin ride. And when you move them off the track that much, I'm sure that gets a lot worse. So some stats here: 83.9 miles an hour, only a minute long. G-force 4.7. You almost go 84 miles an hour in 3.5 seconds. That's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, it is.
Whew, that is really cool. Nick, have you seen Furious Bako before? Have you heard of this one in your travels? And what are your thoughts on this?
It looks really cool. I like the acceleration looks great. I mean, I like how it's close to the ground, but it's pretty short.
And then you got the water section too, where it flies over the water. Probably unlike Manta, at a very high speed over the water.
Yeah, but also unlike Manta, this one does not have a water jet effect that I can see. So minus points for lack of theming.
Well,
I don't know if you know this, but this ride is actually themed to wine.
Really?
Yeah, that's what Furious Bako. I'm not quite sure what the actual. I'm not sure what the relation is, but I know it's wine themed because if you look at the cars, they're wine barrels. And if you watch a POV of the video, it's got a Thunderbird style pre-show shed, if you will. And you're supposed to be in the winery, and up in the screens in front of you, if you watch a POV, the control room actually fills up with red wine, and that's what causes the ride to launch out. Now, I don't know.
So strange.
I'm not quite sure only in Spain, right? I'm not quite sure what the name has to do with anything on that. I don't know if that's lost in translation or something, but I know it's wine barrel themed.
I think Bako has something to do with a wine god or something. I don't know.
Yes, I think you're right. I think you're right. Actually, I think that's exactly what it is. I think it's some different etymologies god of wine, because it looks like the queue goes through a vineyard. If you look at picture 14 on our CDV, it looks like the queue actually goes through. I don't know if that's a real vineyard or what, but. That is weird. That is weird looking.
Well,
cool.
See, you learn something new every day, because I've heard of that ride and I never knew that. So there you go. So the next one, let's hit that refresh. We've got, Danny, this is one of your rides that we just rode recently. Right before, I will say it was on your last trip with me. You rode this ride. Any guesses?
Well, last trip with you would have been the Hollywood Nights trip, so that means it's either something at Holiday World or Indiana Beach. Right?
Very good, very good.
Okay, the later reaction, I'll say Indiana Beach. Okay.
And I said it's one of your coasters.
Oh, it's one of mine?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh. Well, it's got to be Cornball Express, right?
Absolutely,
yes.
Cornball Express.
That is one. You were right. That is one of my rides. Cornball Express is one of my rides. Love Cornball Express.
And there is more than corn in Indiana, and Cornball Express is one of those items.
Yes, there is. There's also hurricanes
so this one
on the beach in Indiana.
In Indiana. So we have, this is a CCI coaster. We just, like you said, we rode it right before Hollywood this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to admit, it made my top 20 list of wood
Small
coasters.
but mighty.
Yes, this one's got a nice little punch to it. It has a nice layout, like you said, has a number of different oh shit moments on it. I actually like the end of this ride a lot better than the middle and the beginning. That there are some hills at the end of this ride that are just out of this world airtime moments. I really like.
Got the nice helix and a couple of. There's a lot of good moments. The helix into the 2 or 3 hills at the end. The first drop is always good because it starts to go straight and then makes like a left hand turn, so you kind of get thrown to the side as you're popping out. But the third or fourth drop is kind of like you go up over a hill and then there's a slow drop and you make a left hand turn, and then there's, as I like to call, the oh shit moment where there's actually like a frame. Like a square frame above you that acts as like a double head chopper, and then you do it again where you come up and you're underneath the lift hill of Hoosier Hurricane, and you're like underneath the structure of Hoosier Hurricane, and you have another one of those, and then that kind of leads into the helix with the finale. So I love that ride. That's I will never turn down a ride.
It's a solid ride. Yeah, it's a solid ride. Cornball, very fun. No, okay, let's move on.
He doesn't want to talk about wood coasters anymore.
Yeah, how many wood coasters do we have on this damn show?
The third one, and we're 7 in.
Too many.
3. Oh, stop it!
Too many.
Stop it.
Okay, so let's see if we can hit a real coaster. Oh, another B&M. We got a Beamer. This one down in Florida. Guesses? No, not Tampa. Still doesn't.
There's too many Beamers in Florida. Well, there's not too many.
Really,
you never have too many Beamers, but there's too many to guess from.
Well, this is the newest one in Florida. So this is Mako.
Oh, the Hulk. No, never mind.
No, shut up. Well, I count it as new. But
I know you do.
That's me. It's actually the same. I know. Nick, have you been on Mako yet? You're kind of south. And give us your thoughts on Mako.
Yeah, I know you guys didn't like it that much, but I actually really enjoyed
I liked it. Somebody else here in the middle here didn't like it. I enjoyed Mako.
It's like in my 30s somewhere, so it's not. I don't hate Mako. I think it does a lot of nice things. I like the hills. I like the airtime. I don't like the trims. I don't like the brakes, the mag brakes. I think I don't know. I feel as if I hit brakes very lightly at points, and I still feel it was kind of sluggish. I know people have said that if you don't get any brakes, the thing really flies.
Uh-oh.
I don't
He's
know
smiling,
if
Andy.
I don't know if
He's smiling over here.
Why? Have you got a trimless ride? What?
Yeah, a bunch of them. Yeah, I had a lot of trimless rides, so yeah.
It's so hard to tell for me because of the mag trims. Like, it's hard to tell if I hit them or not. And I've probably ridden Mako quite a few times because probably about 10 times now because I've been to SeaWorld way too much over the last few years.
You've gone like 2-3 times since this ride opened.
I've been to SeaWorld and been on Manta more than you have, Danny Miller, in the last 2 years. Like, honest to God. I've been down there more than and for all those people calling me a hypocrite right now, because I know you are, I still have yet to buy a ticket to the park. So there you go.
So you're a freeloader, is what you're saying? No, but so hold on. I want to ask the question. So Nick, you said you had a bunch of trimless rides. Like, how is it? Because we haven't had trimless rides.
No.
I mean, I guess I went in the winter, and rides usually run slower when they're a little bit colder, so I guess maybe they didn't see the need to. I think I got one trimmed ride, and I pretty much figured that out when I didn't get airtime over that ejector hill, which obviously you should be getting airtime on.
Mm-hmm.
when the trims are off, you get a lot of airtime. When they're on, nah.
Yeah. So okay, so right there, a testimonial that it does seem to make a pretty big difference, which is something you and I debated about way back when we talked about Mako and the fact that the brakes do seem to hit rather hard on that ride. So there's a testimonial that maybe maybe it does make a pretty big difference. So go down the winter, I guess.
Yeah, I did it. The first time I did it, it was during haunt season, and then I just most recently did it a few weeks ago when I was there for the media day. Now, and I think Mako's a fine addition to the park. It's something that they needed. Their coaster lineup at SeaWorld kind of lacking, even though I really love Kraken VR, and I think the VR experience really helped Kraken. The rest of their coasters are Manta, whatever. I think Mako really adds something else to that park that I think helps it a lot. And I would like to see more coasters added. I honestly believe, Danny Miller, after having been there for the Kraken VR, I think they're going to get a wave breaker just like San Antonio did, because they have that whole half of the lagoon back there that they do that water show in. That I think they could easily put the jet ski coaster over there and really do something special with it.
I think that'd be a great idea.
We're going to see a lot more coasters. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more coasters at SeaWorld over the next few years, so I'm excited about that. Let's hit that refresh button again. Danny, this is one me and you will be riding very soon in the next few weeks. We booked ourselves a trip out to Iowa. Also, my 400th coaster won Monster at Adventureland. Okay. Yes. This one, now being the only one that had ridden this one I think is different because it's the first time where I thought trims actually helped the ride experience. That there are multiple times on the ride, especially towards the end, where the trims hit hard, but to give you, one, to slow you down, but also to give you a lot of different hang time experiences. So I thought they were very creative.
Isn't the loop like really awkwardly shaped, like where it's flat at the top or something like that?
Yeah, it's one of those infinity loops, I think, where you fly up above it. I can't remember. Yeah. Well, there's a few different loops on this one.
You made it pretty apparent that the vertical loop is like it's like squished so that it's like flat at the top, so you get a lot of hang time. You were very vocal. What was it? I guess 2 years ago, or was it last year? I guess
last year.
It was last year that you enjoyed this one more than Cannibal.
Yeah, I think because I did them on the same trip, and to be honest with you, I think Cannibal, the first two elements on Cannibal are a lot of fun, but after that, I think it falls apart pretty quickly. This one, I think, was start to finish, fun all the way through. You get the beyond vertical drop. You get a whole bunch of hang time on this one as well. It's the seats are more than comfortable on this one, whereas I thought the Cannibal seats might have been a little uncomfortable for the elements, especially that lagoon roll that they created. I was not a fan of that very much at all. But Monster, I thought was very fun from start to finish. I was very happy with it, and I'm excited to see what your experience on Monster is going to be coming up here in the next few weeks, because I think it's a really good ride. But you've been on similar stuff, like you've been on Impulse at Knoebels, right? I kind of think that this might be a little like that.
This is definitely Impulse on steroids. I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, this it does like a dive loop right into that weird shape loop? Like, is that like what it's actually doing? Yeah. Like, it's got two loops right next to each other? That is really wild.
Yeah, there is an off-ride video of this you can watch on our YouTube channel, I believe, Danny. So if you
okay, shameless plug. Okay,
like, come on. Yeah, I believe. Did I do the off-ride? Wait, hold on. I better have done it. I got a ton of off-ride for it. I spent hours doing Monster.
And a little teaser here. You and I are possibly talking about maybe doing a show while we are out there in a few weeks. We are toying with the idea of doing that. He's looking for the video now.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's up there. Definitely up there.
Okay, yeah, so check that out, and we'll probably have more monster videos coming up, especially if we do a show from there.
Yeah. So let's go to the last one here.
Last one. What do we got?
We have, this is really weird tonight, the stuff coming up. Megaz from Six Flags New Orleans, somewhere you just been. Unfortunately, you didn't actually get to ride this one.
No. Now, hold it. Wait a minute. So we already talked about, so we're going to Monster in like 3 weeks. We were just at Cornball. You were just at Twisted Typhoon. What the hell is going on tonight? Like, we're getting all these weird rides that like we've never talked about before, or we have talked about, but like, okay. Anyways, so yeah, I put up this. I put up the video. I don't know if a lot of you guys saw it, but so Six Flags New Orleans, as you know, was decimated and destroyed basically by Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. Has been closed ever since. Now, Nick, I'm not sure. I know you're south, but I don't know if New Orleans is an area you've been to or not. It's actually pretty far away from the Charlotte area, even though it is down south. And Megaz is the big wooden coaster out there. Ironically, very similar to Villain, too. A large custom coasters wood coaster that's still sitting there. Always talks that, if the park ever reopens as Jazzland, that maybe Megaz will come back. Another one that had the Gerstlauer trains. Very, very, very weird. And again, I put up a nice long, it's about a 15-minute video. It's just raw video of us when I was down in New Orleans, like last weekend. 2 weeks ago, just driving around the outer perimeter of Six Flags New Orleans and seeing what's left and how it's all barricaded and blocked off and how a lot of the rides are still there. Actually, that brings up another point. Nick, did you ever get to go to like Hard Rock Park, or have you ever like gone by where Hard Rock Park was?
I don't know. When I was in Myrtle Beach, it was already long gone.
Okay.
I might have driven by it, like where it was.
Okay, because like Hard Rock Park was like, it was there for a little bit after it closed, or when it wasn't Freestyle Music Park, but for the most part, like they've pulled a lot of the stuff out there. But Six Flags New Orleans still has so much of the stuff there, like so many of the buildings, so many of the rides. The Sky Coaster is still there. They salvaged some of the rides. I know the Kiddie Coaster, I think, got moved somewhere to Magic Mountain. I think it got moved to. The Batman clone got moved to Fiesta, Texas, and became Goliath. Really, really strange. Really, really strange experience being down there. So I don't know if either of you guys have any other thoughts on that. I mean, it's really, really odd. That park actually has a lot of ties to Fiesta, Texas, too, because, like I said, their Batman moved to Fiesta, Texas, but Jester, the Vekoma Looper that they have that still sits there, actually came from Fiesta, Texas. It was the Joker's Revenge there, and it ran the train completely backwards, and I think it was the only coaster in the world, still might be the only roller coaster in the world that ever took riders through a corkscrew backwards. Really, really weird fact for you there, but I believe that's correct. I don't know. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but at one point that was the case. So I don't know. I don't know. Really strange.
Yeah. So Megaz, God, if they ever open that one back up, you think they would keep it in its current condition, or do you think they would bring someone in like GCI or RMC to like fix it up?
I think they could just retrack it and reopen it. They would need new trains anyway, because I know from experience going down to Six Flags St. Louis, the cars that ran on Megaz are actually at Six Flags St. Louis. When we were there a few years ago, they were actually underneath us. They were like in the queue for Batman the Ride, which was really weird. So I'm assuming they're using them for parts on the Boss, since the Boss also has the Gerstlauer trains. that Megaz ran. But Megaz is a huge ride. I mean, it really does remind me of the Villain, and that's probably closest to, and they were built around the same time. They were two of CCI's last rides before, they kind of closed their doors and went on to become the Gravity Group. But that's really strange that we've had a couple of these rides that either we were recently just at, or ones that we're going to very shortly, and then Nick's been on down to Mako. He's kind of close down there, and then we just had those weird two in the middle with Holland Blitz and Furious Bako stick in there. I don't know. We got to do these shows more often here, because I think
we see that all the time, don't we?
We do, because we always stumble across like 3 or 4 of these that end up generating some really good discussion. Especially Holland Blitz. Like, I kind of want to go to Austria before this thing. I'm not going to go in the next month, obviously, before this thing closes. But
unfortunately,
I guess so. A big thanks to Nick for kind of getting us back into this topic here. I really like doing these shows.
Yeah, Nick. Any final thoughts? Maybe a secret as to how?
Yeah, you gotta tell people what your strategy was for the Thrilling 32, because it's really hard to win that. Did you have much of a strategy, or did you just kind of you just kind of pick coasters? Did you have anything that you really went off of?
Well, I mean, what I always do is forget about my bias and then go off of what I hear other people mainly say, because if I put my opinions into it, I'll probably screw up pretty badly. I pick Raptor as my winner.
I think one Brian Bass made that mistake this year of listing his own rankings and not listening to what the people say. But it's really good. That's really good advice, because we say that all the time. It's really, really difficult to set aside your own opinions and set aside your own rankings and kind of just think about what because what did we say? 228 people voted this year and submitted rankings and everything. So it's really, really tough to try and predict what 228 people collectively think is the best ride out there. And it was not easy this year because nobody got the steel coaster with Expedition G-Force. So nobody got that right. So getting Lightning Rod was certainly one that some people had, but a lot of people had Fury. But with nobody getting the steel coaster right, you only needed to have one right this year to really be the winner. So it's good advice, and we do have yet to have a repeat winner in this contest.
I'll do it. Don't worry about it.
Here we go. Them's fighting words, and Nick's saying he's going to repeat. We're waiting for a repeat winner, because we've been doing the Thrilling 32 We've been doing it as part of this show here for 3 years, but we've been doing the Thrilling 32 and the whole poll for I think 5 years now, and we have yet to have a repeat winner in those 5 years. So maybe Nick will be the first. We haven't even, let alone repeat back to back. We've never had someone win a second time. We've had 5 different winners all the time. So that'll be interesting to see what we come up with next year. So we're looking forward to that. And we're only a few months away from voting opening up for that too. We're getting into July here. By the time we get around to October, at the end of October and the end of the regular theme park season, once we get into November, we'll be opening up voting for that. So that'll be a lot of fun. Nick, any other final thoughts before we sign off for the evening? Thanks for joining us. First and foremost, this is a lot of fun, and thanks for kind of getting us back into this roller coaster roulette deal. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, that Arthur Poor thing almost screwed me over for the second year in a row, because I was
Oh,
2 years
okay.
in a row, I thought I'd be second and not be able to win the thing.
Now, okay, all right. Now we gotta ask. We gotta ask since he brought it up. Did you have any idea what was going on?
Well, even when you guys said that it was Andy, I was completely confused what was going on.
That's what we figured.
I had to ask you guys, did I win?
That's what we.
I had to ask you guys, did I win? So.
Yeah, I remember that because I remember when we recorded the show, we had to take a break after that segment because we had to take a break at the end of that segment. And I said to him, I said, you have just confused so many people. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, poor Nick over here probably has no idea if he actually won or not. And sure enough, when the video goes up, your comment was like, wait, so did I win? I'm like, see, he has no idea that he actually won. So, oh man, that was fantastic. Oh man,
good times.
Funny.
Oh,
well, thanks again for doing this. We've had a lot of fun tonight for sure.
Well, thanks for joining us. Like Danny said, I'm of course Andrew Barchak from Chicago, Illinois.
Danny Miller from Binghamton, New York, and Nick.
And I'm Nicholas Gregot from Charlotte, North Carolina. So,
and as always, Ride On, Ride Warriors.
See you guys.